What's up, fam? Yeah, yeah. Y'all know who it is. Anyway, it's I Real Be Free. I just want to have a conversation with you. I want to tell you a story, actually. Before I do that, let me bust 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, I think I'm gonna start doing that. This is a very touchy situation for me. And if any one of you have ever wondered why I feel the way I do, or my opinions about police brutality, is based on some stuff that have happened to me in my past that I felt as if I did not bring it on myself. But of course, hold on. But of course, people would say I did. So this is back when I was 28 years old. Actually, this goes back to 1988. Now, I used to live in New Jersey, and I've always been accustomed to working. I've been working in the trucking business for some time. Before I got into 18 wheelers, I was driving box trucks for different companies. In this one particular company, I was driving a 22-foot truck, and I delivered house appliances, refrigerators, TVs, well, refrigerators, stoves, washing machines, and always had to have a partner for the most part. We drove all over Jersey, some New York, but mostly a lot of Jersey. So this particular day in 1988, I had a run-in with Newark police. Right now, I'm a 28-year-old young buck, new family, just doing what I'm supposed to do as far as being a model citizen. I never had any trouble prior to that, even though I was getting myself in and out of things before I was 28 years old, but never had a record, never had anything pending on me or messing up my record, because I just, I was like any other young person growing up, experimenting in different things, not going too crazy with it to get yourself deeply caught up in the system, but just enough to say I've experienced it, and it's something that I either do want to do or don't want to do, and I've chosen not to do those things. And at an early age of having children, at 28 years old, I had decided I don't need that type life, so I need to get out here and hustle and make my way and be responsible for my family. I was married, had my first child, and so I actually, this incident happened while I was working. I was going to do or don't want to do, and I've chosen not to do those things. And at an early age of having children, at 28 years old, I had decided I don't need that type life, so I need to get out here and hustle and make my way and be responsible for my family. I was married, had my first child, and so I actually, this incident happened while I was working. I was going, I think it was the second stop to my last stop, and it was a refrigerator that I had to deliver right off of Bloomfield Avenue, and I think that's the borderline of Newark and Bloomfield. So I come up to this light. I'm in the truck, I'm in the right hand lane, and there's 4 cars ahead of me. But in the first car, I noticed there was a red car there, and there was a guy dressed in jeans, army shirt, army hat, talking to somebody in the red car. And in the left lane, there was only 2 lanes going east. So I'm four vehicles back, and they're at the light talking. So there's another 4 cars in this left lane over here. So that's 2 lanes going my way. And in my rear view, because we always got to be checking our mirrors to see what's around the truck at all times. So I'm checking my mirrors, and I noticed, because I first heard a faint siren, and I didn't know what direction it was coming from. So I look in my rear views, and I could see behind us, it's coming, in our direction. And I know that everybody's supposed to pull over to the right. But The light was red at the time, and the guy was talking to the lady in the red car. And there was 4 cars in the left lane. So that's the lane I'm blowing my horn for to clear out because an ambulance is coming. So I blew my horn, bwant, bwant, used the big horn, right? At that time, the light changed. The ambulance is coming up. It's just getting ready to get with traffic. So the guy in the red, talking to the lady in the red car, stood up, looked at me, and gave me his middle finger. So I'm 28 years old. I had spunk in me. And so, of course, when the traffic started to flow and I started going past him, I gave him the finger as well, right? Get to my corner, make my right turn onto, I'm not going to say the streets, but onto my street where my stop was 2 blocks up on the left-hand side. I get there. I'm telling my man who was in the truck with me, I'm going to go up to the customer's door, knock on the door, get the customer out. While I'm doing that, you pull the refrigerator out, lay it down so we can take the bottom off and the box off and take it on inside. As I'm exiting my truck, I see a police car pulling over behind the truck. And I'm looking like, okay, so I'm going on across the street to the customer's house. And the customer greeted me, I think, up the steps. When I opened the door, they had to go up a flight of steps, and they were at the top of the steps. And so right before I got to the door, this guy dressed in this army jacket and jeans, he goes, "Excuse me, can I have your registration, license, and insurance?" So I'm like all baffled, like, who you? So now it clicked. That's the guy that gave me the finger back there on Bloomfield Avenue. Dang, nabbit, that's this guy, right? How do I know if he was a cop or not? I had no clue. Didn't even matter. He gave me the finger first. So I said, yeah, when I come back. So I went on upstairs, and they asked me upstairs, "Are you having trouble? You having any trouble with this officer? I seen him pull up in the car." I said, "Yeah, it looks like he's about to give me some trouble, right? Because he gave me the finger back there in Bloomfield, and I gave it back to him. Now he's coming up on me to hassle me, right?" So I said, "I like to be able to call my company." So I called, and the guy waited till I came out. So as I come out, he's asking me again, So I'm like, okay. So he never identified who he was. I know I seen him getting out the car. I seen him getting out of the police car, marked police car, but he wasn't dressed as an officer. And he was insistent because I'm thinking in my head, he's just trying to get back at me because I gave him the finger back. So now he mad and he trying to hassle me, right? This is my thoughts. So I walked on past him. I was gonna go to my truck to start pulling it out. So I said, well, this dude ain't show me who he was. He could be washing the car for all I know. I don't think he a cop anyway. So I said, look, let me finish this. Let me pull all this stuff down, right? You show me who you are, and then after I make the delivery, he said, no, you're gonna do it now. He's telling me you're gonna do it right now. I said, no, I'm not gonna do it now because you didn't show me nothing, so I'm not showing you nothing, right? So I'm pulling, and I'm getting ready to get the thing down. We got it right at the edge of the truck. We never bring it so far out of the truck that it's gonna teeter, totter, and fall over by itself. Never do that. Any delivery guy will tell you that. You just bring it out far enough that we can unscrew the wood on the bottom that is supportive. When you put the box on it, it supports the box and protects the bottom of the refrigerator. So we had to take those screws out. So we started to do that. He goes back to his car. Apparently he was calling for backup. So just a few minutes right before we got to pull that refrigerator, we got the bottom end off and we just started to tilt it just to get the box off the top. This guy and another officer comes around the truck, and the officer's pulling me by my shirt. There was another guy. He was dressed in a trench coat, a black trench coat. Never really got his name. I got a bunch of names. Actually, I got the whole report right here. I have the whole report. I got their side of the story and I got my side of the story, right? And that particular supposedly be detective pulling on my shirt, pulling me to the side. So as he's pulling, he said, "Come here, let me talk to you. Come over here." And he said some choice words. Tell me what the F is wrong with me, not listening to the officer. I said, "I don't know who that guy is," and stop pulling on my shirt. So on my coat, so I yanked my arm away from him. He said, no. He said, no, don't do that. Come here, let me talk to you. Right? Trying to pull me to the side and talk. So he started to say, when an officer asks you for this, that, and the other, you give it to him. You don't give him any hassle. I said, well, first thing, he's supposed to let me know who he is. I thought he was washing y'all's cars. I don't know who this man is. He's not dressed as an officer. He didn't tell me he was an officer. He just started asking for my credentials. And I said, man, look, I'm going back to work. I'm going to finish delivering this delivery. I got 2 more deliveries, this one and another one, and I'm out of here. You ain't got to see me no more. So I started going back. So he comes back, the guy in the trench coat comes back to me again and started pulling me a little more forcefully. So now I'm getting irritated with this guy because, one, he's pulling on me, and I'm saying to him, "Get your hands off." So I yanked even harder to make him break his grip. Now, as I'm doing this, I see other office cars coming, parked in front of the truck, on the side of the truck, on the other street over there, close enough that they can all run over to me. So now the guy, the initial fella, is trying to grab my wrist. Right? Now he's trying to grab my wrist so he can try to put me in handcuffs. So I backed up to the back end of the truck and put my hands up in the air like this, like, dude, what are you doing all this for, man? He kept saying, well, you're resisting arrest. I said, what am I getting arrested for? Well, for blowing my horn? He said, yes. So I'm like, look, man, I'll go get the stuff you need, right? So at that time, they didn't want to hear no more. They didn't want to hear me trying to go get nothing. Now they want to arrest me, right? So at this point, they're having trouble, especially the shorter of the officers. Now we got about 4 on the scene. So they're all struggling to get my hands. One's trying to reach, and I'm reaching back up in the sky. I'm not really throwing no punches. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'm just trying to, plead with these guys, don't go through all this. It's my last 2 stops, So in the scuffle, they tried to pick me up off my feet, which they were really sucky at. They couldn't do that. And because I kept backing up to the truck. Every time I felt like I was losing my balance, I'd back up to the truck. And that would help me regain my balance. And I kept my hands up the whole time. So they still struggling with me. And one guy felt like he gonna be slick. I'm gonna punch this boy in his stomach, and that'll bring him to his knees. So this guy, I see the other officers reaching and pulling and trying to get me away from the truck, and this other guy trying to get behind me between the truck and my back. So I kept squeezing my back against the truck. But at the time, I was able to do that with no pain because I had a weight belt on. And with those weight belts, it's a very big buckle, very huge buckle back in the day. So I had that on every time I had to lift refrigerators or whatever. I always put that on tight like I'm bench pressing, and I would wear that, and I had a lot of support. So I see this guy coming through the middle, wound up like he's getting ready to hit me in the stomach, and I had my hands up. So, and I'm thinking in my mind, this here is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt right here. So I braced myself, and I knew that I seen the impact, I seen it coming, and when he hit me, it didn't hurt that bad. It was just pressure. It was like somebody just went like that, right? So I felt it like, whoa, didn't even hurt, right? And I seen him jump back, and he was waving his hand. He was jumping around in the background, okay? So now the other guy who originally pulled me over got behind me, slid his little hand or his cross arm across my neck, and he tightened up and started squeezing my neck. That's what brought me down. That's the thing. At this point, they all taking their little pot shots at me, right, as I'm going down. The guy I was with was standing off on the side. He was bigger than me, but he wasn't, his head wasn't, he was scared. He was afraid. So he was just, he's going through all this on the side. I see all this happening. So now the guy's choking me, and he's choking me tighter and tighter as I'm laying down. I'm laying down. The other guys are kicking me and trying to pull my arms behind me, and this guy's choking me. So it was hard to get this arm behind me because he was there choking me. So they're trying to bend my arm back. And so I said to myself, if I don't act like I passed out, because I had to fake it, that they're probably going to choke me to pass out or kill me or something. So I faked like I passed out, so I let my body go limp. So every time they was moving me, my arms were just flapping around. I had conscious. I knew what was going on because I can still feel them tugging and pulling at me, right? So I had to do that. And then he started to release his grip. So when he released his grip, they finally got me handcuffed in the back, got me on my feet, and they cussing at me, pushing and pulling, just still hands behind my back, and they pushing me and shoving me and all this type stuff, Nobody read me my rights the whole time. All this was going on. So now I'm handed over to this other guy. They're deciding which car I'm going to be put in. I get in this guy's car. He had curly hair. I know his name. I got his name right here in the Dagnabbit reports when I start getting into the finer details of this. So I get in the back of his car. So as I'm being pushed in the car, he feels like he wants to get some free shots as well because he missed out over at the back of the truck. So he hit me in the side of the face about 4 or 5 times. Really, solid shots that he can deliver, So I ate those, bang, all right, bang, he caught me, man. My hand's behind my back now. And he's getting these old punk-ass shots on me, man. So he kind of swole me up a little bit, my lip was swole, my eye socket around here was swole up, and my jaw was swole because he was hitting that side of my face. So he got those shots off, I ate those shots, and I was upset. Yeah, I was crying because I cried because I felt helpless. I felt like I couldn't do anything. I wasn't boo-hooing loud, but I had tears in my eyes because, they treated me like this, not giving me a fair shot to even defend myself. Now, this guy waits until I'm handcuffed before he want to go ahead and get some punches on me, So he's cussing at me on the way down there. Went to the North District in Newark, right? To put me in a cell, and then they was writing up this report. And it happened about 1:30 in the afternoon, all right? It started around 1 and ended around 1:30, and they started to book or arraign me or whatever, book me, and fingerprint and all that when I finally got down there. So as I'm going down, the guy's cussing at me, and he started asking me all these questions that I didn't want to answer nothing. I didn't want to say nothing to this man. He just got finished hitting me in my face, and he want me to have a conversation with him. You want to talk to me now? You want to act like you civil after you barbarically hit me and struck me all upside of my face, and you want me to talk kind and nice to you and answer your Dagnabbit questions. So I didn't want to talk to him, right? So now they hustled me in the back, brought me in this dungeon-like place, and then they took me inside. And now it's getting later and later. Maybe they finally got me in there 3-ish o'clock or something like that. But now my face is swelled up. It wasn't swole when they started to put me in the car, but after he done got his little free shots, on me, kind of swole me up by the time I got down there. So they didn't take a picture of me at that moment because I was kind of puffy, and they just threw me in the cell, right? Took the handcuffs off, threw me in the cell. So I'm able to look out of the cell and see past the window these officers that had attacked me when I was at the truck, and they're all collaborating with each other. And they were collaborating with the little guy, the guy who initially came, who gave me the finger. They're collaborating with him. So they're looking at each other's paperwork, and they're saying, "Oh, do this." He's pointing. He's corrugating the whole thing. Corrugating. You know what I'm trying to say, right? He's doing that. He's the one that's the leader in make sure the paperwork match. This is what he was doing. So he's checking out. I'm just looking at him now. I'm mad. I'm sitting there. Now in my head, I'm thinking these guys are probably gonna hurt me tonight because one or two of them will come by the cell and say some pretty nasty things. You know, they was either trying to scare me, which they already got me scared now because I'm in a cell and it's just me and it's a whole bunch of them, cops everywhere. So they're all talking about what happened, and then they'll come around to the cell, and this one young cop comes by, and he smacks the cell with this thing about yo long, but it was leather, but it was solid, like steel was wrapped inside the middle of it, but it was stitched in nice. It was a little billy club basically, but it was made of leather. So he's banging the cell, saying stuff like, "Oh, you that, N-word." He called me the N-word. He said, "You that Negro, huh?" And I ain't saying. I'm just looking at him. And he said, that guy in that trench coat, that was my dad. He said, "This stick right here is gonna be a part of your skull when I transfer you." So now it's set in stone in me. Now I'm like, okay, they're gonna really try to hurt me tonight. When night falls, I'm pretty sure if they're gonna transfer me anywhere, they probably gonna try to put something on me. I know they're gonna wait till I'm handcuffed and then they're gonna try to do their dirt. That's what I know. And that's what I started to believe. And now I feel like I'm gonna die. I felt like I was gonna die that particular night in 1988. So now I'm thinking like this now. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna grab somebody. I'm gonna get a gun. I'm gonna try to get their gun, because if they're gonna kill me, then I'm gonna have to try to take somebody with me. But I'm not gonna just let them just kill me like that. And they're gonna come in and try to put these handcuffs on me again when they try to transfer me. That's this. Now I'm quiet. I've already accepted the fact that I'm gonna die. This is how the mind works. When you think that you're gonna die, you do desperate things to try to save your own life. So now this is the state of mind that I was in. Now I'm thinking at 28 years old, I have to say goodbye to everything and everybody, because these guys are gonna kill me tonight. This is what I'm thinking out of the things that I heard come out their mouth while I was in that cell. One guy comes by and said, "Hey, I see you're not a bad guy. We just checked your records. You don't have nothing on your record." But he said, "You do now." And he did it laughing and he walked away. So now in my mind, I'm like, they're here to destroy me, kill me, get rid of me. I don't know what they're going to plan to do to me, but in my mind, they didn't let me make a phone call until 1 in the morning. 1 in the morning, I made a phone call to my wife and my little baby. She was taking care of the baby at the time. She had to get out of her bed, dress the baby, and of course, the guy I was with had to do all the connecting information to my company so they can get me out of the cell. And they were working on it all that time. And at 1 in the morning, they come to the cell saying, "Okay, Mr. Kirkland, here's your paperwork. You're released." Now I'm thinking, oh, so I see my wife over there behind the glass with my little baby, Denasia. And then there was a white guy that was with them, was the bail bondsman. All right, so they bailed me out that night. So I was like, I was thankful to see them, was very happy that they didn't get to do what my mind was thinking, like they was gonna really try to kill me tonight. So I'm glad that didn't happen, of course. And everything after that, the aftermath was a mess. We finally get to the court. Right now, I find out. Now, this is in their report. They claim, after what I just told you. Now, I'm telling you what happened to me. In their report, they claim that I assaulted 3 officers. Okay, I overpowered 3 officers with guns, and there was 5 or 6 of them out there, all taking their chances to try to get me on the ground. But 3 of them were the ones, especially one of them broke his finger. The one who came through the middle to hit me in the stomach, he broke his small finger. I was charged for breaking this guy's finger, assault on that officer. I was charged for him breaking his finger when he hit me in my stomach on the weight buckle. Like I drove my stomach into his fist on purpose to break his finger. So I was charged for that. I was charged for, they claimed that I pushed one of them down, which my hands were in the air trying not to get handcuffed. But I managed to push somebody to the ground. I hit him in the hand with my belt buckle. And I don't know why the other one is saying I was assaulted. Maybe because, his fist was hurting after he hit me in the face. So now that's assault on an officer because he hurt his fist on my face. And the other one hurt his fist on the belt buckle. And the other one claimed I pushed him down. 3 charges, which they have in the reports, even though they claim there was 3 officers that I assaulted, they have built up a case on me. They planned on ruining my life. You understand me? They planned on ruining my life. And they basically made change in my life. They made some changes, but they didn't ruin it. And this particular form right here is the summons. I had 2 summons. And then I had 2, 4, 6 charges. 6 charges. And they beat the crap out of me. But they charged me 6 charges of assault on officers. And they beat the crap out of me. Let that sink in. That was around the time that movie Do the Right Thing came out. Y'all remember that movie by Spike Lee? Yeah. I remember that movie. I remember that movie because I was traumatized by the event that happened. After I kind of was trying to seek a lawyer and everything, my company had a lawyer appointed for me. And as we went, the lawyers decided that they could no longer defend me because they have been defending Newark police officers, and it's a conflict of interest for them to continue to defend me. And soon after that, they fired me. The company fired me after that. Right? Okay. No fault of my own. They came up with some bull crap. Bam, gone. So the wheels have started in destroying my life. Right? Arrest them. First, we put a whooping on them as we arrest them. Put a charge on them. A charge that no one would look at and say, oh, it's not so bad. Assault on 3 officers. All false. They lied in their report. When I read to you what they wrote, you can see that they were trying to figure out how can I tie him into this particular thing, because there's 3 officers against his 1 word. 3 officers' word against that 1. And then all the other officers that was out to assist. They all was together. Nobody was like, let me just tell the truth about what happened. They all like, okay, what'd you say? And what'd you say? And what'd you say? Okay, I agree, I concur. That's how it went down. Now, their attempt was to destroy my character. Never been charged for 28 years. Never been locked, never had no trouble. The trouble that I had was basic trouble that most of us do, having growing pains as we grow into men. No lockup by the police and all that nonsense. All right? All those things. I had some scratches with the law, but it wasn't nothing to this dynamic. And when I think about it even now, it makes me extremely, extremely angry, and it makes me bitter. But what has it actually taught me over time? It taught me a very valuable lesson. Right? It's not the part about resisting arrest, but then first off, why would I be arrested for blowing my horn because an EMS driver was trying to get past? Why would I be arrested for that? Why is that a crime? Not a crime. It's not a crime. I blew my horn twice. Twice was too many for him because he thought I was blowing at him. He wasn't paying attention to the ambulance that was coming up behind him. And that's the fact that I was going to use in the court, because I was trying to absolutely defend myself, it seemed like, because nobody else would take it. Nobody else would take the case. I tried to go to the NAACP. They didn't want to touch it because it was Newark police. Really. This is back in 1988 in Newark, New Jersey. Right? Everybody that I reached out to, they wanted money up front. I didn't have money. I didn't even have a job because they fired me. I was in the process of looking for a new job. Right? So the arraignment come where I go to court. Let's skip on over to that part. Right? I see the officers because they done put this thing off for some time because the officers couldn't make it. They kept telling me or sending letters to me saying that it's postponed to the next date and the next date because the officers could not appear because of something else that was going on with them. Right? So when they finally did appear, I'm in front of this judge and there go the officers. I'm still upset. I'm still angry. And now just seeing their face again made me even more angry. Right? So the judge asked, is there any way that you guys can resolve this situation? I'm going to give you time to talk about it amongst yourselves. I'm going to recess, and then you guys come back and let us know what you come up with, if you want to continue or you want to resolve this thing. Like, you know, because I was pressing charges on them as well. So they wanted to talk to me. So the guy that was battering me upside the head, pushing me in a car, he wanted to talk to me. Why that guy? Why any of them? It should have been a lawyer trying to talk to me. But it was that guy. And he pulls me to the side in the hallway. And he says to me, Mr. Kirkland, I see you're not a bad guy. He said, listen, do yourself a favor and drop your case. If you drop your case, this will all go away. But if you don't, what you're looking at is 15 years in prison for assault on 3 officers. The first charge is 5 years per officer. That's 15 years if you lose. So do yourself a favor. Drop the case and we'll drop ours. So I'm looking at this guy. The words stung. It was kind of shaky, spooky a little bit to think that I can do 15 years for blowing my horn twice to help an EMS go by quicker. Yeah, it was scary to feel that. But looking in his face, I said, hell no. I'm going to continue. And I walked away and went into court. And he's like, Mr. Kirkland. I just ignored him at that point. Went on and sat down in my spot. When they called us back up and they said, did you guys come to resolve? And I said, no, we did not. I like to continue. So I'm mad. I'm fired up now. So they said, okay. He said, Mr. Kirkland, you do know that if you don't seek counsel, there's a good possibility you won't do well. I said, well, I tried to seek counsel. Nobody wants to take the case. People want money up front. I can't afford it. So I have to do it myself. And they said, well, it's not suggested. We can give you a public defender. I said, I don't want a public defender because they're friends of these guys. I don't want to be part of that. This is how I'm talking. Yeah, well, Mr. Kirkland, it's totally up to you. We'll notify you when the next court date is. I said, okay. Left. Let's scoot forward now. They gave me a court date. Right? I had time to think about it, raising my family, got another job, getting back on my feet. Had another court date coming up for that case. Now I'm thinking, if I lose, I got to do 15 years. And my daughter was only 2 or 3. She was 1. Yeah, 1 going on 2. And I didn't go. And nothing happened. I didn't get any more phone calls, no more letters, no more to appear in court, nothing. I just went on, took that, let it go. I was 28 years old, going on 29, raising a family. Nobody would help. And then that movie came out, Do the Right Thing. And there was one scene in that movie that grabbed me the most. Do y'all remember Radio Raheem in that movie? When everything started to go down about them busting the window out, and Radio Raheem got choked out by the police officer, and he lifted him off his feet, choking him, and choked him to death. And then they threw him in the back of the police car and drove him out of there. Then the riot began. Remember that part? The part where he was getting choked out and he lifted him off his feet while he was choking him? That brought such a flashback to me. I was in the movie theater with my wife at the time and my little daughter. And that part was so in my head that I found myself standing at one moment with my wife pulling at my shirt to sit down. And she said that I had yelled out, "Get the F off of me." And everybody in the theater was like, "Sit down, man, sit down." Right. I didn't even know I stood up. I didn't even know that I yelled that out. I just came to my senses when she was pulling on my shirt, and she was pulling hard to make me sit down. So when I think about this abuse that happens today, and then the Rodney King thing came out. Y'all remember that? When Rodney King got beat savagely. I came home from work one day and my wife was telling me as she cooked me dinner, she always put the plate on the living room table in front of the TV. And I was hearing about it all day, but I never really saw it. So when I get there, she turns on to the news where they're showing a clip of Rodney King getting savagely beat by all these officers. And mind you, I worked hard that day. I was hungry. Just wanted to come home and chill with the family. Ready to eat oxtails. Just ready, man. Smelling that oxtail all day. Finally gets home. She had the plate ready. Turned on the news. And I saw Rodney King getting savagely beat by these officers. And all I could do is cry. Again, because I felt helpless, and I felt like it was me watching this man get beat like that. I felt it was me all over again. That hurts, and it hurts equally when I see it today. You know, it hurts. It's not something that, if you ever wonder why I feel the way I feel, you hear me explaining things about police brutality and injustice, racism, it all stems from that. I'm not one who could say I come through life and never experienced it. It was apparent in my young life coming up, and it's apparent now. It's here. We're still dealing with it. So of course a man like me would be upset and angry when he sees it. And I won't apologize for anybody for feeling like this. Not at all. I put it in the right perspective now. As of before, I was very angry, very bitter. I hated police officers. All of them. I hated them all. I couldn't trust none of them. And now, I'm doing way better. Am I completely 100% healed? No, because it hurts still. Am I trustworthy of officers? Not all of them, no. But I know there's some good ones. And when they prove that they're good, I have a little more trust in them. Right? Do I still think racism drives the majority of them to do the things they do to black and brown people? Yes, I still believe that 100. Nobody gonna tell me otherwise, because if it wasn't so, it wouldn't be happening as much. Family, I went over my time. This story is just part one. This what happened to me. That happened to me. 1988. They did not have body cams. They didn't have a lot of videos in the area. But which now, they didn't have cell phones with cameras. They didn't have all that then. We were just out there, butt naked, taking it. This is my story. I will continue to finish this story. Family, till next time, treat people like you want to be treated, and it will come back round, because it has for me. Sorry for this feeling that you guys are experiencing from me right now. I'm just reliving that thing back in 1988. And just reliving it, thinking about it, makes me want to cry right now. So, before y'all see tears drop from my eye, I'm going to tell you.